Sawadee Krap, I'm JP Mestanza, and it's Wednesday, June 2nd. Welcome to Phuket Extra, brought to you by PVC Phuket. We got a lot to get to, so let's get started. Phuket officials have again repeated that registration is open for working foreigners to receive a state-provided COVID-19 vaccination while remaining silent on previous promises that foreigners would be vaccinated in June and that the vaccine to be used will be AstraZeneca only. During a live broadcast online this morning, officials announced that foreigners with work permits and have been registered could today book their time to get vaccinated through the Phuket Must Win website for inoculations on June 3rd and June 5th this week, which they said could only be booked by the human resources rep from the company which the foreigner is registered with. They said, quote, "The booking system will open for 2 rounds. The first round is open at 9 a.m. for businesses in the tourism industry and education. And the second round will be 2 p.m. for businesses in other industries." However, while admitting that foreigners had already registered through the system to be vaccinated, officials did not directly recognize that registrations for foreigners had been suspended by officials. Previously, foreigners working with tourism-related businesses were allowed to register through exactly the same process described this morning, followed by foreigners working in other types of businesses. The registration stopped after the official COVID-19 Information Center Phuket announced on May 22 that Phuket Must Win would no longer accept registrations from Thais from June 5th and no longer receive registrations of foreigners after last Tuesday, which later created panic online by Thais wanting to register, and then the Phuket Vice Governor Patong called the move a temporary suspension. Adding to the confusion for foreigners in Phuket looking to be vaccinated was the announcement on May 24th, again by the official COVID-19 Information Center Phuket, that foreigners on the island who had already registered to be vaccinated were to receive the Sinovac vaccine on May 30th. But that never happened, with no notice or explanation from Phuket officials. The post caused mass confusion online, with foreigners presenting evidence that they had been informed by the Phuket officials that foreigners would be vaccinated in June, and by AstraZeneca only, which was in line with repeated explanations by leading Phuket health officials, including Vashida Phuket Hospital Director Dr. Chalampong Sukontapol, who was present at this morning's live broadcast. Today, Phuket officials are announcing that registrations for foreigners to be vaccinated are open, as if they never were before. Of note, the Phuket News already has readers confirming that their independent attempts to register had been refused. One reader on the site pointed out that his passport number was not accepted. Officials made no mention of which vaccines are to be administered to which groups. For more, visit thephuketnews.com. An investigation is now underway into the death of a man whose body was found floating in the sea off Patong Beach, south of Patong, on Monday. The man's body was found by a local fisherman at about 3:40 p.m. near Coral Beach Bridge at the southern end of Patong Beach. He had no pulse at the scene but was pronounced dead at Patong Hospital. Patong police have yet to confirm the identity of the man, and an autopsy is now underway. Operators of entertainment venues in Patong are formally requesting Phuket provincial officials to allow their businesses to reopen to prepare for the return of international tourists from July 1st under the Phuket Tourism Sandbox campaign. Widawit Sombat, president of the Patong Entertainment Business Association, filed their request at Phuket Provincial Hall in a meeting with officials and other tourism industry operators. On the subject of Bangla Road, Mr. Widawit says that there will still be checkpoints at either end of the strip, and that staff are required to be vaccinated before returning to work. He says that 90% of Bangla Road staff working at entertainment venues there have already been vaccinated. Still, all entertainment venues, including bars, clubs, and karaoke venues, have been ordered to close since April 9th. They were told to remain closed in the latest order that came into effect this week. At the meeting, hotel operators requested that each tourist must have health insurance coverage of at least $50,000 US, about 1.5 million baht. The president of Thailand's Hotels Association Southern Chapter asked if international tourists, once they arrive here in Phuket, could report details of foreign guests by making them register through the gophuket.com website or the Thailand Plus app. This is instead of having hotel staff report those details to the nearest emergency operations center. The whole thing was followed by Phuket Vice Governor Patong explaining during a live broadcast online on Monday evening that businesses allowed to reopen under the latest order issued by Phuket provincial officials were required to have their staff vaccinated for COVID-19 before reopening. For more, visit thephuketnews.com. Phuket Extra will be right back after this. For the first time that all 3 challenges are completed, PVC Phuket will donate 100 life bags to One Phuket. Welcome back to Phuket Extra. A break in the case of Nong Champu, a 3-year-old girl who was found dead and violated on a mountain in Mukdahan province last year, has now led to an arrest as her celebrity uncle surrendered to police this morning. The case of Orawang Wong Sri Cha, known as Nong Champu, has been making headlines since she went missing back on May 10, 2020. Her parents had gone out to run an errand and left the older daughter to look after 3-year-old Nong Champu. The sister would later tell police that Nong Champu wandered off and disappeared. She was found about 4 days later, naked in the forest just a few kilometers from her home in a village in Mukdahan. In the weeks that followed, the family pointed the finger at Nong Champu's uncle, believing the girl would have left with someone close to the family, 44-year-old Chaipol Wipa. He denied the allegations. 2 autopsies were done on the girl's body and found that she had been sexually assaulted as well. In the months that followed, TV coverage of the case would hit a fever pitch, including coverage of Chaipol, who started becoming more known as Uncle Paul. He had become a minor celebrity in Thailand, according to Coconuts Bangkok, appearing in music videos for popular singers, charging money for appearances, receiving donations, and even started a YouTube channel, which as of this recording has 359,000 subscribers, with some videos garnering millions of views. He maintained his innocence all throughout. But this week, authorities issued a warrant for his arrest based on DNA evidence and witness accounts, according to the Bangkok Post. He turned himself over to police in Bangkok this morning. The initial charges include depriving a child of parental care, abandoning a child under 9 years old in a way that caused her death, and tampering with a body to influence an autopsy. The Thai government is announcing a court order to close or remove the accounts of 8 individuals who they say posted fake news on social media. The 8 accounts include those on your screen right now. The Digital Economy and Society Minister announced it all today. They're ordering internet service providers to remove or block information posted by the 8 individuals on websites and social networks, along with their passwords and IP addresses from their computer systems, according to the Bangkok Post. This comes just a week after Human Rights Watch called on the Thai government to drop lèse-majesté charges against Thanakon Piraban, a 17-year-old activist, for speech at a pro-democracy rally back in December in the capital. The 17-year-old was indicted by the Central Juvenile and Family Court just last week, and he faces up to 15 years in prison if found guilty of insulting the monarchy. This whole thing also comes on the heels of the criminal court approving the temporary release of 3 pro-democracy activists, including Arnon Nampa, Panupam Mike Jadnok, and Chukyat Justin Sangwong. They were released on bonds of 200,000 baht each from the Ratsadon Prasong Fund, all raised from public donations. All 3 faced multiple charges from their roles during several demonstrations that began in mid-2020. Phuket has suffered its 2nd death attributed to COVID-19 in the latest outbreak, an 86-year-old Thai woman who officials say also had hyperlipidemia and hypertension. Phuket officials confirmed 2 new cases as of this recording, as the total number of cases on the island since early April reaches 664. 62 people are still receiving medical care. Most cases are in Wichit with 76, and Phuket Town with 71, and then Patong with 70. Meanwhile, for Thailand, health officials confirmed 3,440 new cases over the last 24 hours. Just over 1,000 are prison inmates. The total number of cases since the start of the pandemic is 165,462. Also, 38 new COVID fatalities were confirmed. The death toll for the nation climbs to 1,107. Since April 1st, there have been 136,599 COVID cases. Thanks again for joining us today on Phuket Extra, brought to you by PVC Phuket. Visit them on Facebook. Join us again later this week as we'll bring you all the news you missed. Until then, stay classy, Phuket.
Phuket's rapid modernization has made it one of the world's premier holiday destinations. Investors can still buy quality condominiums for as low as $75,000, and luxury properties can go all the way up to $20 million. Condominiums in Phuket are a safe, secure bricks-and-mortar investment offering foreigners freehold ownership. Call or email Thai Residential, Phuket's #1 trusted real estate advisor, to find your perfect Phuket property.